You're listening to The Money Hour with your host, Tina Mitchell, and co-host, Keelan Harvey on Alternative Talk, AM 1150. Now, back to the show with local mortgage experts, Tina Mitchell and Keelan Harvey.
You are listening to The Money Hour at 1150 AM KKNW, the Saturday, July 17th show. You can also listen to our podcast, Facebook premiere show, or on our show YouTube channel. In addition, for more information on any of my upcoming events, please go to tinamitchellevents.com. I am your host, Tina Mitchell.
And I'm your co-host, Keelan Harvey.
We bring into studio each week the best of the best experts in our local market on everything regarding your money. We are here to help you in today's economy. Now in studio, we have Amy Keljo of Amy Keljo Photography. More than just saying cheese, how to choose a family photographer and prepare for a shoot right here on 1150 AM KKNW. Welcome to the show for the first time, Amy.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Likewise. And a little bit about Amy. Amy is a professional lifestyle and documentary family photographer serving Seattle and the surrounding area. Amy specializes in creating art that captures connection and authentic emotion. Her family photo shoots are held outdoors using natural light and offer a mix of gentle posing guidance along with plenty of playtime to capture fun, candid moments. Her packages cover a wide range of photography needs, from shorter seasonal celebrations to full day in-life sessions. In addition to families, Amy also enjoys photographing newborns, seniors, and individual portraits.
Awesome, Amy. I'm excited for this. I heard through the grapevine that you were actually a family nurse practitioner. I could talk today. Before you got into photography, what led you to make that decision to switch your occupation there?
Thanks for asking, Keelan. I think it's an interesting time. A lot of us are kind of in this boat of trying to figure out what's next. COVID kind of made a lot of people reconsider. And so I just think it's, in my personal case, I am still a family nurse practitioner, love that work, but have always also been a photographer. And I started to burn out a little bit. I started to kind of caregive at work and caregive at home. And I had a chance to step back and think about, what do I really want to spend kind of the next half of my career focusing on? And I'm so excited to be able to say it's photography and to really pursue that dream. So I feel very lucky.
Oh, so excited because when you're doing something that you are passionate about, it is actually your gift. And that's why you're passionate about it. So Amy, everyone is obviously just taking every photo that they can think of on their phones. So can you share with somebody listening today that's thinking, why would I hire a professional family photographer when I can use my own phone? Because I imagine there's a really good reason in why.
Yeah, thanks, Tina. So I think, we do all walk around with these amazing cameras in our pockets. And so people think, well, that's all I really need. And I have so many family photos that way. And that is true. However, I think that professional family photography kind of brings a few things to the table that you really just can't get on a phone. The first question I'll ask you is, when you're looking at a family photograph that was taken on a phone, who's missing? It's usually mom, to be honest, but whoever it is that's taking the picture is not in the photograph. And I think so often we don't have photographs with everybody together, and that's super important. Another thing I'll mention is photographers bring, a lot of expertise to the table that really makes a difference when you're looking at the art. So an understanding of lighting, an understanding of composition, and of posing in a way to really communicate connection and whatever it is that they're trying to do. Photographers also have equipment that brings a higher resolution to the picture. So if you're looking to make it larger, let's say on your wall, it would be harder to blow up a picture from your iPhone, but a lot easier to blow up a file that you might get from a professional photographer. And lastly, I'd like to point out that, we are living through history, and, we are living through a pandemic, and in about 2 generations or so, our grandkids are going to want to know, what was it like to live through the pandemic of 2020? And I think that, I always try to capture at least a few pictures of people wearing their masks and things like that. And I'd say those are things we have in our phones, but, to really get some captured photographs of what was this like, so that you can have, those future generations can see it. So Yeah.
That's so true. I've actually taken photos of things that are happening in the grocery store, and the signs, and the ice skaters when there was nobody in the audience but fake people. I've done that. So yes, I can bring back in what it was like then. And also I have to get a shout out. Before I knew Amy, I had my headshot up done, and I went into a studio. And this is important takeaway why it's so important to have the best of the best. And this is why we have Amy here. The photographer was excellent, but the way I was trying to do my photo, which is my natural way that I do, he was making me do these awkward things, like don't open my eyes so big, put my head out, to do all this weird stuff that felt so awkward. And I knew those photos were going to be horrendous. And when I looked at all the photos, how I normally would do a photo versus what he forced me to do and felt so awkward, my photos were horrifying in my poses. So just like you said, Amy, so critically important that you work with a professional photographer, and you need to make sure that you have the best of the best that actually knows how to coach you so that you can look good, especially on those family photos.
Yes, true. Yeah, exactly.
Tina, you teed me up perfectly there. So that leads me exactly to that question. What are some things to consider when selecting a family photographer?
Thanks, Keelan. So a few things. The first thing is going to be exactly kind of what Tina was just talking about. What style of photography are you looking for? And when we're talking about family photography, there's a few different kind of camps that we can think about. The first is the traditional studio portrait, probably what Tina experienced, and those are wonderful. Whether it's for a family or for a headshot, you're going to go into a studio. There's going to probably be some lighting. There's going to be maybe a backdrop, a little more formal and traditional. Then there is what we call lifestyle. I practice lifestyle as well as documentary. And lifestyle is kind of an in-between where we're trying to capture, if you can imagine, we're trying to capture candid, natural things that might happen. If I hung out with your family for a week, I might be exposed to a whole variety of really fun moments together. But how do I get that in an hour? So lifestyle photography allows me to take you into a place where I know the lighting's going to be good. Maybe it's a place that you love, like a beach or a park, and really give you some fun things to do that are going to allow you to play and interact in a way that's going to capture some of the magic that naturally occurs between you, but might be hard when a camera's hanging out in front of your face. I do use some posing techniques that will communicate some of that connection, like, okay, maybe if you're touching each other versus if your hands are just hanging by the side, or let's get you really close, things like that, that really communicate that feeling and that emotion. And then lastly, there's documentary, and that's really where you're a fly on the wall. I could be with you for a day. I could be watching your family from, toothbrushing to bedtime. And I'm really capturing all of the kind of little things that you might think, why would someone want that? And in 10 years, when your kids are grown, you might think, God, it's so cool to be able to look back and see what was it like to have a young kid, So those are the things. Those are the three different type styles. Another question is, what do you want? Do you want one photo? Do you want 10 photos? Do you want to select from a bunch? Do you just want the files, or do you actually want the photos themselves from the photographer? How much are you looking to spend? Do you want to be shot inside or outside? Look at the photographer's portfolio, really different looks depending on who you're selecting. And then last, make sure there's a connection. Try to get know the photographer a little bit, because you're probably going to make a relationship with this person and see them a few times over the course of maybe your family's, life.
Yes. So, Amy, I know that you take most of your photos outdoors using the natural light. If someone is interested in taking photos outdoor, what time of day is best for an outdoor photo shoot?
Thanks for asking that. So you've probably heard photographers mention golden hour. Golden hour tends to happen in the hour before sunset. And the reason that we love that light so much is that the sun is low, it's casting nice long shadows, and the warm light that you see when you look out the window these days between 8 and 9 o'clock, that warm, glowy, it's just such a yummy feeling. It looks wonderful on people's, kind of going through their hair and all of that. So either early in the morning or late in the evening is when you're going to really get that beautiful light.
So family photo shoots is an investment. What are some of those hidden costs that you may not be aware of?
Right. So it is an investment. And again, people say, well, I got this phone. Why would I want to do that? So there's a few things that are behind the scenes that you don't really see once the photographer shows up or after the fact. So one of them is scouting time. If I've never shot in a particular location, I'm going to go and I'm going to spend at least an hour walking around, getting to know where is the light at different times, where is the shadow. So I really know some good places to take pictures. The second is going to be after I take your photographs, I'm going to spend some hours doing some editing. And what comes straight out of camera versus what I actually give you, they look pretty different. And I do a lot of work to make sure that things are light and bright and, well balanced. Obviously, there's the expertise of the photographer. They've spent years developing their craft. And so you're looking for a piece of art and you want to make sure that you have someone who's invested the time to do that. And so you're paying for that. Again, there's a lot of, it's a small business. So there's the insurance and the investment in the equipment and all of that the photographer is bringing to the table to be able to offer their services. And so the cost of a photo shoot kind of considers all of that.
You get what you pay for. I mean, we all know that. If you want a discount, you want a discounted shop, you're going to get discounted service and results and end game. If you want to get something quality, especially when you're talking about photos of your family that's going to be around forever and generations after you, you want to make the investment for that. So Amy, some people may worry about their children. They're not going to cooperate. I'm sure Keelan, he's probably thinking, oh my gosh, this is going to be great getting the new baby and London into a photo shoot. But at a photo shoot and with the photographer, how does that work? How do they get them all together and make it come out perfect?
Well, sometimes, it depends on what you define.
Perfect isn't perfect.
Right?
You
exactly.
want,
yeah. It's all in the, what are you talking about? Perfect. But I'll say there's a few things I always tell families. One is please make sure that your kids, especially if they're young, are well fed and rested to the extent that you can. So that might mean you have to push a nap. You might need to give a snack, especially in the summer when the sun is setting so late. We're asking kids to kind of push their bedtime sometimes. The second thing is, give the kids some control. I was on a photo shoot the other day and, the kiddo was just not into it. And so I said, what do you want to do? And she's like, let's go climb a tree. And I was like, great idea. And we got the best shots of the photo, of the shoot there. So give the kid a little bit of control. What do they enjoy doing? And that you're going to get that natural, joie de vivre come out. And lastly, again, thinking about your style, make sure that what you're looking for is going to match up with what the, photographer is able to do. So if you're looking for something that's fun and, versus a little bit of a more formal shoot, make sure that you've done the work to kind of think that, what I'm looking for is what this photographer is going to give me. So in that case, a lifestyle might be a good selection if your kiddo tends to be a little more high energy and isn't really going to sit and look at the camera. And that's okay. We'll get some good shots anyway.
Yeah. So Keelan, for that family, for Lurk needs a nap and London needs a snack.
Yeah, amen. I love this. All the time, actually. So it doesn't change anything for me. Exactly. So, and I'm Amy, you're being so modest about this because you are an artist. Like everything you do, the one thing that you have that nobody can just go and paint a picture. Like you know everything about photography, I should say. And it's not just about taking pictures. It's about capturing something like a true artist. So that cannot be replicated, and it makes all the difference in the world. We only have a minute left. And with that being said, there's other times in my life I know that it may be important to bring a photographer to document things. What are some of these events that you could mention for some of our listeners on time, things in life that may make sense that you want to capture?
Thank you, Keelan. So just briefly, I'll mention, so some of the places where you'll also see family photographers doing work, capturing newborns, right? So a couple of weeks after birth, you see a lot of maternity work being done, adventure work. If you're going to go pick some berries or pick pumpkin patch, bring a photographer along and let them photograph those moments, the fun things that you're doing together. There's some great stuff that can be captured. Day in the life is where, again, I kind of spend the whole day with you and we capture all the kind of minutia that I mentioned. And last but not least, we're in the time of we're coming together with our families after COVID. There's COVID reunions. There's older parents that we haven't seen in years. We're going to get together with them. Briefly, I'll just say I was talking to a woman and she was saying, oh yeah, I want to get a picture with my husband, and then she was relaying her Mother's Day story. She spent time with her mother, who's in her 80s, and some of those, her sisters. And I said, wait a minute, I get that you want to have a picture with the husband, but what about the mom and the three sisters? Mom's 87, let's get that picture. And she's like, wow, and the light bulb went off. So, getting those pictures with people that you love and you cherish, things change. You never know how things are going to change. Capture it now.
Yeah, I definitely will say for myself, there's a lot of memories I wish I would have captured. And that is a really, really bad and a sad place to be. So moving forward, I definitely am capturing memories. Amy, thank you so much for being here on our show. We really appreciate it.
This was really fun. I really appreciate the opportunity and thank you.